Hello everyone, it's been a while since I made a video in Flight Sim, even though I've been meaning to, especially flying the A2A Comanche. I've been meaning to spend some quality time with it, and this most recent World Update 22, which added the US National Parks, has given me a flight plan, basically. So I'm going to be flying from Las Vegas to Aspen, and hitting a whole bunch of the national parks along the way. There is quite a string of them between these two. Of course, there's the Grand Canyon, but that's not one that was added to by the most recent update. There's Zion National Park, Bryce Canyon National Park, then there's Capitol Reef National Park, there's Canyonlands, then there's Arches, then there's Gunnison National Park, Black Canyon of Gunnison National Park, Great Sand Dunes, and then I think I'll wrap it up with that. So let's get to work. And I have the little flight info display at the top there. I don't know if I'm going to go to Aspen all in one leg or whether I'll stop over somewhere and make a second video. We'll see how the timing goes. So let's see what I remember. If I didn't do a whole bunch of sightseeing, then we would get to Aspen without any problems with a full fuel load, but I'm going to be doing sightseeing. And in particular, I'm looking forward to trying to see if there's any wildlife at all. I haven't seen any fauna in the game in ages, and except for birds, which I added with a separate mod. So I want to see fauna. So okay, walk around time. And I've set the fauna setting to ultra. So I've got the best chance of seeing fauna as I possibly could. This thing, the fuel in water and fuel check tag always gets in the way of me seeing whether it is water and fuel or not. This one, when I try to drag up to check, it can't drag up. So that's another peculiarity. I don't know, I barely see any indication of it between 9 and 12 there. And baggage. I mean, I didn't want that much baggage. Maybe I should leave that stuff out. Okay, it's better that way. I should probably go back and close the door. Oh, it automatically closes. Good. Okay, walk around complete. Battery is low voltage. Other than that, things are okay. Fuel pump is running. Beacon light. Okay, we have an engine start. How much damage did I do? Alternator is charging our low voltage in the battery. And there's an F-35 in front of me. I was thinking of flying the F-35 actually, but I wanted to see the animals. And the F-35 might chase them off. Okay, everything seems good. I mean, the F-35 can park there if it wants to. Alright, I'll take the location off. I'll put the location on when we arrive at one of the national parks. Unfortunately, flight planning in Flight Sim is still horrible. I've got some of the locations here, but it didn't really let me get all of them into the system properly. It doesn't store the names properly. It's annoying. So yeah, I don't know why they haven't solved the map view. The fact that we can't even see the points of interest in many of these places. Some of them just don't have points of interest. Some of them you have to zoom in an incredible amount in order to see the point of interest, in order to target it or add it to your flight plan. So it's really annoying. Anyway, that's my complaint for today. See, I can turn. Alright, we've got some pigeons here. I decided to leave the taxiway to get a look at them. We do have birds, but again, it's not clear to me that that's the default sim that's added those. If I'm honest though, one of the problems with the national parks is it's going to be hard to figure out how much they've actually done in this world update. National parks are big. I really wish the Comanche was career mode compatible. That would have been really nice. I saw a new sort of career mode for Flight Sim called FS Kingpin. I'm tempted by it, but it's only dealing in illicit stuff. So, I don't know. I might be too dodgy. Might be basically GTA in flight. Not that GTA doesn't have planes these days. Okay, off we go. It might be good for Las Vegas to get some more custom buildings. I'm sure there's some payware scenery for that. I don't know which would be more up to date. Okay, anyway, we're here for more natural things. Hey, it's the moon! Well, sort of. That's nice. Putting that to some good use, potentially. If it could mimic some of the other planets, that wouldn't be bad either. It's not quite right for the moon, is it? I don't think so. It's sort of moon-ish, but it's not right. Okay, on we go. Well, we passed a little stretch of Lake Mead, and the landscape is getting a little bit high here, so I better disengage the altitude hold on the autopilot and climb a bit. We are currently here and making a beeline for the main part of the Grand Canyon. Texture is not great. Still trying to spot wildlife, but you know, I have low hopes. Alright, behold Grand Canyon West and the Colorado River. Gotta climb a bit here. More power. Gotta get over this bit. Okay, we are approaching the main portion of Grand Canyon National Park. It is just the beginning of it, but I'll eventually have to turn north so that we can get to the national parks that actually have been improved by the latest update. The Grand Canyon was not one of those. Well, at least this part is looking quite good. Well, the best I've ever seen in a flight sim, so yeah, that's not too bad. Grand Canyon West ain't looking so great, but this is alright. But I haven't really reached the Grand Canyon Village or anything like that, and I have to turn north at this point to get to Zion National Park, is where we're headed first. And that did apparently get some improvements, so I want to see what that looks like. So, to the north. It's amazing how quickly the Grand Canyon sort of runs out in this direction. It becomes all flat over here. And again, it's hard to exactly pinpoint where in these national parks they would want us to look at to see what they've improved, since they didn't bother to put very clear points of interest. Hopefully it's not just the visitor center. Anyway, departing the Grand Canyon. Keeping an eye out for any fauna that might pop about, but not being particularly hopeful. Alright, we are approaching Zion National Park. The path so far has been lackluster back there, as you can see. Very flat, but now we're getting a more interesting landscape. Over here. This bit is called Canaan Mountain Wilderness. And you just know we're in Utah with these names, obviously. Nice detail on these, though. It's over there to the right that we have Zion National Park, or Zion Wilderness. Again, I don't know if there's a particular area of it that they especially improved. It's a pretty large place, so I don't know what exactly we ought to be looking at, but it's the first of the areas on this flight that was supposedly improved by World Update 22. Landscape-wise, the surrounding area is looking pretty good too, so maybe it's just a visitor center or something like that. From this point on, I'm doing close commentary because there was a lot of ambient noise and my microphone was picking it up. So, this is Zion National Park. I'm not entirely sure I'm in the prime part of it. I tried to fly over as much of it as possible, and it's certainly looking detailed there. Due to the nature of the national parks we're going to be visiting, this is mostly going to be a rocky formation tour. This is all about landscapes with rocks on, so hopefully that's your thing. I am trying to hunt for the fauna, but so far no such luck. I got close on this mountain because I didn't want to climb, and well, nothing there so far, not that my eyes could see. So, Zion National Park. It's got these sort of mesas. I suppose that's what we should call them. I'm not the best geologist, let's face it. Seem like mesas to me. I can't tell whether that's just dryness or whether that's supposed to be snow. Could be like chalk. White Cliffs of Dover style. And that's how it is from inside. The beeping inside is the autopilot doing the pitch trim, by the way. You can hear the light beeping. And then onward to Bryce Canyon. Bryce Canyon is a somewhat different sort of look. It's rather a wall. I mean, I think that's Bryce Canyon. At least that was the most interesting thing around here. And it's basically this straight up wall like that. There was a 3D software called Bryce that I think was inspired by Bryce Canyon, and that was mainly 3D software to make landscapes. I don't know which part of Bryce Canyon they were particularly inspired by, but this is definitely the right view. From the opposite direction, you can't even see anything particularly special about this. And we'll see that in a bit after I cross over. See, this is the opposite direction, and not much is going on from this direction, but then once you cross over, you get to see the details. I'm not too sure my engine was having the happiest time during all this. Possibly I needed to put more oil in. Alright, that's a closer look at some of those cliffs. It was quite satisfying detail where we got the details. Looks very intricate. But anyway, time to move on to the next thing with this final glance at Bryce Canyon. I presume this is still Bryce Canyon. I wasn't great at removing the little location tags in time, but here we are en route to Capitol Reef National Park. And on the way, I sort of discovered this other area, which wasn't one of the national parks that they indicated had been worked on, but it sure looked good. This is the Box Death Hollow Wilderness. Box Death Hollow. So, great name as well. But that's what it said on the map. You can sort of see why it might be called Box Death Hollow. Don't know about the box part, but Death Hollow, maybe. So there that was. And then, once again, en route to Capitol Reef National Park. And I'm presuming that Capitol Reef is that really spectacular string of, I guess I'm gonna call it cliffs. Maybe we could call it a reef. Right in front of us there. Sort of a wall. Goes on for quite a ways. And as we get closer, we will see some of the finer detailing in it. In previous flight sims, of course, cliffs and these sorts of things were not particularly well done because a lot of it, even if it was photo scenery from above, and so they didn't really capture the more vertical segments. They seem to have worked on that here. Past that, I had to do some climbing over some hills, which did give me an opportunity once again to see if there was any wildlife around. There were some hints, some shadows and all that sort of thing, but nothing definitive I could see, and nor that I can see on review here. I left the Capitol Reef National Park tag up for longer than I should. Next one up is Canyonlands National Park. Still trying to look for stuff here. Well, if you see something, tell me. We're roughly around there, with lowlands ahead. Canyon strewn lowlands. Descending at high speed into this basin. I guess I can call it a basin. I don't know what the rules are for calling things as far as geology is concerned. So, departing the highlands at the best speed that this plucky little plane can do. And here we are at the beginnings of Canyonlands National Park. Canyons have been dug everywhere, presumably by the Colorado River and its tributaries. It just makes its way all over the place, doesn't it? Once upon a time, anyway. Looking good though. Again, it's rare to see cliffs of these qualities in a flight sim, so I'm happy they've worked on it. It's getting a little bit choppy there. Still no sign of wildlife. Gave it a fair chance. I really wish they would do a little bit more with that. feature. It was supposed to be a feature of Flight Sim 2024. I guess it does make it special if we actually find some. And also, my eyes might not be the best at doing this. That's also possible. Okay, from the window, and there was, I guess I passed it back there. There was one of those formations, a rock outcropping. I don't know what to call it. I hate to have had to cross this sort of thing as a early pioneer or something, you know, somebody trekking across the Wild West. Seems harsh. I guess you would just follow a river, stay low, but yeah, lots of meanders in those rivers. Look at that business. And from inside, does look marvelous. Around here I started to get periodic dips. Not so much inside the cabin, but it's going to happen here. The game pauses and then the plane sort of dips down. And this is, I guess, the game's way of indicating that I've spent too much time flying. That happens more and more and it gets annoying. Notice these sort of pools, salt plus water pools. An interesting break in the pattern. Of course, we have the river there. And there's Moab, that town, which means we're approaching Arches National Park. There's a place to put it down. There's one more of those dips. And this is Arches National Park. I didn't see many arches, but a lot of them are quite small. I wish they had placed points of interest to indicate where the heck they were. Maybe I didn't zoom in on the map enough. I did, I think, see one. You can see one in the back there behind me. Passed it and tried to capture it. I don't think the plane would have fit through it. That would have been fun. And there's an interesting rock formation to the right there, but I don't know what to call it. Otherwise, I tried to look around, but well, the quality of the landscape here is not too encouraging, is it? And there was a hiccup. I mean, at this point, I felt like the game was really trying to tell me to call it quits, so I decided to skip one of my planned destinations and just go for the Black Canyon, and then after the Black Canyon, land at Aspen. As a result, I was able to do the flight without refueling. As we got to Colorado, things got greener. Though they had been pretty green on top of the mountains and mesas already. And I saw my first farmland on this trip, I think. Well, except for right outside of Las Vegas. Got some farmland here. As we approach the Black Canyon. The Black Canyon you can see up ahead there. And it's basically called that because it's so shadowed. And the rock that it's made out of seems conducive to such shadows. There you go. So, Black Canyon of Gunnison National Park. Quite windy and gusty around here. And the rocks seem to be a grayish rock compared to the yellow-orange colors that we've been seeing so far. Granite, perhaps? I'm not sure. You can see the plane being knocked about. I was definitely under manual control here, not leaving it to autopilot as I dip down. Yeah, it was fun to try and keep it going in any particular way in here. Canyon runs are all fun when you're not getting pushed around by the wind so much. Up close, the canyon walls didn't look particularly great. We've got some sort of artifacts there. Or maybe those are supposed to be how it is. I'm not sure. But overall, pretty excellent. Very highly detailed. Especially this sort of view looked rather marvelous as I climbed out of the pit, as it were. The poor plane struggling. I think the engines had some wear and tear, frankly. It will definitely be up for an overhaul after what I put it through here. Still no sign of wildlife. But actually, I ended up spotting some wildlife. You can you can see some things running there. Unfortunately, I only spotted that during editing. While I was flying, I didn't notice those little creatures running there at all, so I didn't turn around back to take a closer look at them. I was too tired at this point, I think. And, you know, since this was close to the end of the flight, I was focusing on trying to get into Aspen. And boy, the mountains make that challenging. I tried to climb over these, but I didn't have enough speed, so I ultimately had to do a loop around to try and gradually gain height. But yeah, focusing completely on landing, I missed the only other animals that I spotted during the flight. But they're there. They're there somehow. But I think maybe they were just cows, and cows seem like they're all over the place. They seem like cow-like creatures, but I'm not sure. Got some ski slopes there. And then Aspen. I was quite tired at this point. I wasn't particularly caring about landing nicely. I just wanted to get down. So, forgive me, it's gonna be a rough landing. And I was coming in with a lot of speed, so I took up a lot of the runway. And the landing gear's not gonna... I'm just gonna have to rebuild the whole plane at the end of this thing. Alright. But anyway, there you have it. The National Parks Update, World Update 22 for Microsoft Flight Sim 2024, or I guess both Flight Sims. And, well, I wish they had put more points of interest to show me what exactly they had worked on, but at least the national parks that they mentioned in the update log look good. Here I was trying to park in the shade, but it didn't let me. There's sort of an invisible wall as far as I can tell, so I parked as close to the shade as I could and called it a day. So yeah, with that, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please do press like. If you have any comments or suggestions, please leave them in the comment section below, and I'll see you next time.